In this video, we'll be taking a look at the future analysis to get prepared for the week ahead. If you love the content, please like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're interested in learning trade first like professional, check out our complete Forex trading course on Udemy. We have over 5,000 students registered right now. I think it's going to help you a lot. Use the link in the description below to check that out. So we're taking a look at the gold charts, crude oil chart, Bitcoin, and GBP-USD. So the exact same chart we talked about last week. And to wrap everything up, we're going to talk a little about DXY. So starting with the gold chart on the 2 hours time frame, we expected an explosive movement to the upside. So that was all the way from this consolidation here, right after a retest, right? We anticipated a move to the upside, and that happened. So we had a nice rally all the way to the top of the symmetrical triangle, which gave us approximately 700 pips. But we found ourselves, being rejected around this price level for giving us a sign of a fake out, right? But if you take these highs, you would notice that this was clear retest of this high over here, right? So it's not always perfect. I know you would have expected price to come all the way to this high before you get a rejection, but sometimes this happens. So we had a rejection. Now we seem to be retesting the lower bound of the symmetrical triangle, which is this pattern over here. Now there are two things that's likely going to happen. We are either going to see price break below, going lower, aiming for this area of support over here, and that will mean, good price consolidating. So this is my bearish case scenario, consolidating a little over here like this, and then giving us a bearish breakout to the downside, aiming for this area of value over here, where we tend to see probably another breakout on decline or bounce to the upside, right? So this is my bearish case scenario for gold right now. And this consolidation, this breakout, your entry could be after the consolidation, stop loss above the consolidation, obviously TP around this area of value over here. So this largely depends on what the DXY does this week or next week, as the case may be. Mind you, we're going to have a decision from the Federal Reserve as to whether to increase interest rates or reduce interest rate or let the interest rate remain the same. So that's something to watch out for. So right now, we're on a break or make it or break it moment for gold. And if this happens, I think this may just trigger the end of gold bullish rally. Not unless we see a clear breakout above these highs. Then moving on to the bullish case scenario. So another reason why I'm still also bullish, there's a good chance we bounce off of this lower bound of the symmetrical triangle. Why? Because number one, we are currently being oversold, right? Which means buyers are about to step in or are likely going to step in. And if that happens, then you want to watch out for a bounce over here, probably some sort of pattern, then a move to the upside. So this pattern should give you some sort of a confirmation from a breakout like this, right? So similar to what we had over here, but different, right? But some sort of, the same idea. You get it? So when this happens, your entry will be above the breakout, stop loss underneath the consolidation or underneath the trend line. First take profit target obviously should be this symmetrical triangle, the high bound of this symmetrical triangle, right? Which will be your first take profit target. That you can trade the rest of positions as you go higher. This also depends on what the DXY does this week. So pay attention to fundamentals this week, because it's going to be it's going to play a very important role as to how the market moves this week or next week, as the case may be. So that's briefly my bullish and bearish case scenario for gold. Pretty straightforward. We consolidate, get a bearish breakout from this lower bound of the symmetrical triangle, we go short. We consolidate, get a good breakout following the bounce of this RSI, we go long. So another thing to pay attention to is that we could get a consolidation over here, which would enable the RSI get into the safe zone, right? And then nuke downwards, right? So this could happen. So this consolidation could cool off the RSI just so we go lower, right? If the DXY gets stronger. That's how to, that's something to also pay attention to while trading gold this week. Moving on, we'll be talking about crude oil. So crude oil, real quick, not too much to see here. This is a 4 hours time frame, and what you can see is following this trend line, we had a breakout, good retest, and now we are having a consolidation, right? A consolidation, price is ranging. We have a clear area of support. If we get a move into this area of value, expect some sort of consolidation. Well, don't expect it, but hope for some sort of consolidation, because it's going to help you get a better risk to reward ratio, your entry, and go short on the breakouts, right? If this happens, your entry want to be here after the short position. Stop loss should be placed above the consolidation, at least to the breakout. take profit target, first one obviously should be around its lows, which would be a decent risk to reward ratio in my opinion. And second one, if you have more positions, will be around its lows. So this is more of a swing trade of sorts. So only confirmed if we take out this area of value, right? If we don't get a consolidation, then we may just see price slicing through this level like knife cutting through butter, possibly a retest before we dump, right? So if you go aggressively, you can go immediately after a breakout, but then your stop loss would have to be placed above these highs, right? Excuse me, your stop loss would have to be placed above these highs. That's how it should be, because this is the area that could possibly invalidate your setup, right? And then entry immediately after a breakout, then move to the downside, right? So if you are being more conservative, then you possibly wait for that breakout and a retest. So on the rejection of the retest, you go short, right? Your stop loss can now be placed above that retest, which also give you a tighter risk to reward ratio, but there's no guarantee we get a retest, but we could get a consolidation, right? And you trade accordingly. That's briefly for crude oil, right? Something else to pay attention to. Mind this is 4 hours time frame still. You could go down to the lower time frame and still follow the same, pattern, right? So if you take these highs from this price action, you can see we have clear rejection. So 1, 2, 3. So if price moves up, for example, hits this lower bounds of this support level, right? And we tend to reverse to the upside, consolidate a little, and get that breakout to the upside, then this could be an opportunity to go go long, right? Mind you, I'm still bearish on crude oil. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's something to pay attention to. That's why if you are going short immediately, your stop loss should be placed above these highs if we don't get any more consolidations before the breakout, because this becomes our invalidation level, right, for a short position. So this is something to pay attention to while thinking about going short. Also think about the possibility of price going higher for crude oil, which is a real possibility right now with the way the market is set up, right? That's it briefly for crude oil. Moving on, we're talking about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, real quick, this one messed me up real bad because I had a very strong anticipation that this support level wouldn't be breached, right? But we see the fake out here, and this was as a result of a company selling 80,000 bitcoins last week. How do you fucking sell 80,000 bitcoins worth about $9 billion? That's what led to this fake out, right? So if you follow fundamentals, you would have seen the updates, and now that that's over, you can see price slowly getting back up. I do think we are still going to get a bullish breakout, and when that happens, my target is short-term target will be $25,000, right? That's only if we take out this trend line. So when we take out this trend line, I'm not bearish on Bitcoin, right? I'm just bullish. So that's why I'm going to be waiting for a good breakout. So if this happens, you can go aggressively, because right now we already had a consolidation here. Mind you, it's a 2 hours time frame. So you could go long after the breakout from this trend line, but be careful because we might get nasty reversals. It's Bitcoin, of course. Stop loss can be placed underneath these lows. Tight risk to reward ratio, low risk management, and good risk management, low risk, and take profit target will be at 25k. And if you take the measured price movement, this would give you approximately 700 pips, sorry, 600, yeah, approximately 700 pips take profit target, with your stop loss at approximately 150 pips. So this is a risk to reward ratio of 1 to 4, as the case may be, or 1 to 5. Trade accordingly, use strict risk management, and if you want to be safer, if you want to be extremely safer and cautious, you can move your stop loss all the way to these lows. I don't think we are getting all the way down here, right? But who knows? But this is safest place to place a stop loss if we do get a breakout. And if that happens, then your entry is going to be placed after the breakout. Stop loss on this price level, low risk, of course. I don't think price is going to breach these lows, but anything could happen. But theoretically, this will be the safest place to place a stop loss, and then trail your positions as we go higher. So you could take out some positions, at 25k, and I think we're going all the way high, as high as 130k, as the case may be. So this will still give you a decent risk to reward ratio if you scale out of your positions as we go higher. This is just a no-brainer for me. Setup is, placed quite nicely, and I think we are going higher if we take out this trend line, and also, yeah, one more thing, and also take out this area of resistance. So we have a mild area of resistance over here. If we take out this trend line, you could go put in a little position, If we take out this area of value followed by a retest, then you can, put in the rest of your position as the case may be. I have no bearish case scenario because I think we're going higher for Bitcoin, but anything could happen. That's why you have to wait for your confirmation, reset before you jump into these trades. Now I'll be talking about GBP-USD. So GBP-USD last week we also talked about the possibility. Excuse me, let me get rid of this. So we talked about the possibility of price bouncing off of this area of value, taking out this trend line because of our anticipation of the DXY getting weak. That happened. So I'm going to show you the DXY chart after this chart. That happened, and we had a breakout, which led to a short-term price movement of 100 pips approximately. But I'm a bit disappointed that this got short-lived because you can see the reversal to the downside. Same thing happened to gold, so just a reflashback. So you can see we had a move to the upside, then now a decline on gold as well. So GBP-USD following the same movement with the DXY, but right now extremely oversold. So there's a good chance we come over here, watch out for a consolidation and a bearish breakout. If this happens, then you want to go short over here, stop loss placed above the consolidation listed breakout, and take profit targets one around here. If we keep falling, then the next take profit level will be obviously around this price level, but there's no guarantee we get there though. But this is how I'm going to go bearish on GBP-USD. Meanwhile, the bullish case now right now looks a bit tricky because it's much more difficult to get confirmations, except you want to pull up this trend line over here, right? Which means you have to be extremely patient for your confirmation to go long on GBP-USD, which means you have to watch price consolidate over here, do whatever it has to do, then go long on the break of this trend line. This is how I'm going to go long on GBP-USD right now, being a conservative trader. So conservatively, this is what you should do, not just going long when we bounce off this area of value, right? And this only applies if the DXY continues to get weaker, right? Lastly, we're going to talk about the DXY quick review. So this is the pattern we had last week. Price was around this price level, so we had price around this levels, right? And we anticipated a breakout from this pattern because we're following similar patterns from the past. You can see it happen here, right? So similar pattern from the past, and we anticipated a good chance that we go low. So that happened. So this movement over here, right, led to the movement we had on GBP-USD, movement to the upside, the movement we had on gold, movement to the upside. And back to DXY, this movement now as some sort of a reversal to the upside is exactly what led to this reversal on GBP-USD to the downside. Also what led to the reversal on Bitcoin to the downside, among other things, of course. But DXY, major mover, dollar strong, moves the market, dollar is weak, moves the market. So I do hope, right? I do hope we continue to go lower. I think we will go lower, right? So, but there's no telling how high we go first. So we could go as high as retesting this high before we dump lower, right? So if this happens, then you're likely going to see gold coming all the way down to this area of value, or even this one, depending on how volatile the market becomes. You could see GBP-USD, snapping all the way down to these lows before we get a bounce. That's if DXY get a rampage movement all the way to these highs before dumping. And when it starts dumping again, if it does, then you can expect GBP-USD to start going up again and gold to start going up again. So that's why it's important to pay attention to the DXY, pay attention to the fundamentals. This week, I think we have the Federal Reserve interest rate decision coming up this week. Pay attention to that because it's going to be a major mover in the market. That's it for me, guys, this week. If you love the content, please like, subscribe, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're interested in learning to carry out market analysis like I just did, check out a complete Forex trading course. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about price action, market structure, and all that stuff. That's it for me, guys, this week. See you next week.